You're listening to the Bar Business Podcast, where every week your host, Chris Schneider, brings you information, strategies, and news on the bar industry, giving you the competitive edge you need to start working on your bar rather than in your bar.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Bar Business Podcast. This week, we're going to do something a little bit different. And honestly, this was not in my plan, but in working on the episodes on menus itself, one thing that I looked at a little bit, partially because I came across it when I was doing some of the research for that set of podcast episodes, is AI and what we can do with AI in the bar and restaurant business to really help us be more successful. And so this week I've done a little bit of just playing with ChatGPT and seeing what I can get it to give me. And quite frankly, the results have been amazing. I am absolutely struck by what you can get out of ChatGPT when it comes to ideas on how to run a bar and restaurant. Now, that's not to say that there are not severe limitations in that the system is only reporting things, right? We don't have a system that can eat food. We don't have a system that can have a drink. Yet it can give us food and drink recipes. It can make menus. So there are some advantages there, and there are definitely some places where ChatGPT can work great as a way to get ideas to start to build and brainstorm on some things. Now, it's never going to be an end-all be-all tool, at least not now. It may get there in the future, and we can have a long conversation about how quickly it's learning and the scary implications of AI and how long it may or may not be around due to some of those implications. But that's really not what we're going to talk about today. Today, we're going to talk about what you guys can do as bar owners to really utilize ChatGPT and to build and to introduce some efficiencies in your business that wouldn't otherwise be possible. Now, just by playing with it for a little bit, I really think where we can use AI the best is our brainstorming, menus, and ad copy. When I say ad copy, I'm talking about Facebook posts, things like that. And it really does, again, not give you an end-all, be-all solution, but it does give some great ideas. So one of the first things when I was playing with ChatGPT, I said, okay, can you actually come up with a bar concept? Like, how much can we actually use ChatGPT to guide what we do? But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about how it works. So for those of you who haven't used ChatGPT, you can go on the website, sign up for free, and essentially it's like chatting with someone. You give the system inputs and it gives you outputs. And so there's a lot with ChatGPT that revolves around how you phrase the information you give it in order for it to give you the best information that you want. And I, frankly, like I said, I've just started to play around with this a lot. And I frankly don't know where those limitations are, best prompts, things like that. If you go search the internet for ChatGPT prompts, you'll get all sorts of different prompts that people use to do different things. Matter of fact, if you search the internet, you can find people doing everything from using it to write social media posts to using it to write entire books. Doesn't mean you should, though. Let me be very clear there. Just because you can write a book with ChatGPT doesn't mean that you're going to get the best quality book writing it with ChatGPT. Just because you can write a social media post with ChatGPT does not mean you'll get the best Facebook post with ChatGPT. But again, from where I'm sitting, it's a great way to brainstorm, to get ideas, to push you down a path that hopefully gets you to an answer quicker, save some time on your end, and really allows you to leverage technology to more easily and quickly do things that are otherwise annoying, like writing social media posts. And along those lines, if you really think about it, I don't think we're quite there yet. But if you figured out the right system to use the AI to do things like write social media posts for you on a regular basis, you might even be able to have essentially a Facebook social media marketing person without actually having to pay for a social media marketing person. So there is some potential there to really gain some efficiencies that we wouldn't otherwise have access to. So with that said, I'm just going to kind of walk you guys through what happened when I started to play with ChatGPT and where, to me, that means we have opportunity and where potentially we need to be careful. So the first thing that I asked ChatGPT was to create a bar concept. And I gave it this prompt, which I thought was very minimal. I did not want to give the AI a whole bunch to work from. So I said, create a bar concept for a local bar. And then I asked it to do that twice. Once, create a bar concept for a local bar in Phoenix, Arizona, and the second time in Portland, Maine. I wanted to see how it would react to regional changes and differences. And so I'm going to read for you guys both the outputs I got from those. Now, they are similar in some ways. We'll discuss that after we go through them. And they are different in some ways. And again, not a full bar concept by any means, but both of these are actually pretty well written and are sufficient to start a brainstorming session on a concept. Or if we had asked for multiple concepts, say, for Phoenix, Arizona, we could have taken things we liked from both of those, or all of them, depending on how many times we asked the AI for an answer, and really use that to refine something that was good. But I'll tell you this much. These concepts written out, they're 4 or 5 bullet points each. They are better than a lot that I've seen when people say, hey, I want to open a bar and this is my elevator pitch. This is a pretty good elevator pitch. So without further ado, let's get into this. So I asked first for a concept in Phoenix, Arizona. It said the name of the bar was going to be the Rustic Cactus Bar and Grill. The Rustic Cactus Bar and Grill is a cozy, welcoming neighborhood bar in the heart of Phoenix, Arizona. The concept of the bar is to create a warm and inviting atmosphere where locals come to relax, unwind, and enjoy delicious food and drinks with family and friends. The decor of the bar will be inspired by the desert landscape of Arizona, with rustic and earthy feel. The walls will be adorned with local artwork and photographs of the surrounding desert scenery. The bar will also feature a large outdoor patio with plenty of seating and shade, perfect for enjoying the beautiful Arizona weather. The menu at the Rustic Cactus Bar and Grill will feature a mix of classic bar food and Southwestern-inspired dishes, such as loaded nachos, green chili cheeseburgers, and carne asada fries. The bar will also have a wide selection of local and regional craft beers on tap, as well as a variety of handcrafted cocktails featuring local spirits and ingredients. To enhance the community spirit of the bar, the Rustic Cactus Bar and Grill will host regular events such as live music nights, trivia nights, and game watch parties for local sports teams. The bar will also feature a loyalty program for regulars and locals, offering discounts and special perks for those who frequent the bar often. Overall, the Rustic Cactus Bar and Grill will be a friendly and laid-back neighborhood bar that offers a taste of the Southwest and a warm sense of community. So obviously, that's hitting on a lot of the points that normally would say, hey, if you're doing a bar elevator pitch, these are points you should hit on. We have an idea of the food being served. We have some examples. We have an idea of the atmosphere. We have some examples of what the decor is. We have some idea of events that the bar is going to offer. We have a way that they're going to try to connect with the community. We know they're going to offer a loyalty program. And in that last sentence, a taste of the Southwest and a warm sense of community just kind of ties it all up in a nice summary of what this bar should feel like. Now, with that said, obviously there are some things that are a little generic in there. There are some things that could be fleshed out. Now, I'm going to read for you guys what it returned for Portland, Maine, and a neighborhood bar there. One thing to pay attention to, and we'll talk about this a little bit more after I read through it, is that some of these are the same. Some of the output that we've gotten is actually identical. Now, the parts that are identical are really good for neighborhood bars, and there's something that probably most neighborhood bar pitches would have in them. So just listen for that, but also listen for the differences in what we're talking about with decor, overall feel of the bar, and menu. So the name it gave me for the bar in Portland, Maine was the Portland Seafarers Pub. The Portland Seafarers Pub is a cozy and welcoming neighborhood bar in the heart of Portland, Maine. The concept of the bar is to create a nautical-themed atmosphere where local and tourists alike can come to relax, unwind, and enjoy delicious food and drinks with family and friends. The decor of the bar will be inspired by the seafaring history of Maine with a cozy and rustic feel. The walls will be adorned with local artwork and photographs of historical ships and lighthouses. The bar will also feature a large fireplace and comfortable seating for cozying up on a chilly Maine evening. The menu of the Portland Seafarers Pub will feature a mix of classic pub fare and seafood-inspired dishes such as lobster rolls, fish and chips, and clam chowder. The bar will also have a wide selection of local and regional craft beers on tap, as well as a variety of handcrafted cocktails featuring local spirits and ingredients. To enhance the community spirit of the bar, the Portland Seafarers Pub will host regular events such as live music nights, trivia nights, and game watch parties for local sports teams. The bar will also feature a loyalty program for regulars and locals, offering discounts and special perks for those who frequent the bar often. Overall, the Portland Seafarers Pub will be a friendly and cozy neighborhood bar that offers a taste of seafaring history of Maine and a warm sense of community. So if we compare those two, obviously they're largely similar. We look at the last couple bullet points on each of those to enhance the community spirit of the bar. Those paragraphs are actually identical. The overall kind of sum up point paragraph, if you will, is almost identical, except we're saying seafaring history of Maine as opposed to taste of the Southwest. Other than that, though, when we're talking the decor, the ideas, they're actually pretty solid. And like I said, a lot of people that when they're first thinking about a bar concept, when they're first looking at developing a concept, this is about as detailed as they get. In some ways, this is better because, again, we've talked about where it is, what it is, the theme, how we're building a community, the decor, the menu, given some examples, mentioned a loyalty program, done all of those things. So it has its limitations, but if you were going to open a bar, if I was going to open a bar someplace, I would probably run through and ask ChatGPT for 5, 6, 10 concepts and just look at what it said. Even the parts that are repetitive are important, if you will, but it's definitely a good starting point. So while it's not hitting a full concept for us that great, it obviously has some knowledge. It's pulling something from the internet that makes sense. So then I said, okay, can we get this to write menus for me? And I wanted to look at food menus and at cocktail menus and see what it would come up with. So I tried a new prompt. I said, write a menu for a neighborhood bar in blank consisting of 5 appetizers. So essentially I was just asking it for 5 appetizers, and I gave it different locations to see how it adjusted for those different locations and whether or not the AI would be smart enough to give us location-based menu ideas. So for the appetizers, I asked it for Indiana, Florida, and California. I live in Indiana, Florida, and California, obviously coastal, way different than Indiana, and also way different from each other. So for Indiana, it returned a list of fried pickles, chicken wings, mozzarella sticks, calamari, and loaded nachos. Well, that's pretty darn good because almost every bar around me has all of those or everything except the calamari. So really, for a neighborhood bar in Indiana, that's pretty much hitting 5 appetizers that almost everyone has. For Florida, it gave me the answers of conch fritters, coconut shrimp, Cuban sandwich sliders, fried green tomatoes, and gator bites. So that also works. And it's pretty on point with what you see in Florida. For California, it gave me avocado toast, garlic fries, bacon-wrapped dates, spinach artichoke dip, and chicken wings. So we see the repetition of chicken wings, but really we have what seems to be a much more California-type menu. Now, I wanted to see how far I could take this. So I decided I like gator bites. I haven't made fried gator tail in a long, long time. So I wanted to see if it would give me a recipe that looked like something I would want to make. So I asked ChatGPT, write a recipe for gator bites for a bar. So not just an at-home one, but a production recipe. It didn't quite do that, to be honest. It gave me the same recipe it probably would have used for at home. So it's not big quantities. It's not quite optimized for a pub. But, you know, a lot of times when we're looking at menu items, we're getting ideas on how to prepare them out of cookbooks. Those aren't guaranteed to work for a bar either. You know, those are not based on commercial cooking. There's no more modification that would have to happen here than with any recipe you pulled. So when I asked it to write a recipe for gator bites, obviously AI can't eat. It's never tasted food. I was curious to see if it would give me back a recipe that looked like it worked. And to be real honest, it did. And I was hugely surprised. So it gave me back this recipe. Ingredients: 1 pound alligator meat cut into bite-sized pieces, 1 cup all-purpose flour, 1 tablespoon Cajun seasoning, half tablespoon garlic powder, half tablespoon onion powder, half tablespoon paprika, half tablespoon cayenne pepper, 2 eggs beaten, 1/4 cup of milk, vegetable oil for frying, salt and pepper to taste. So right there, we see all the ingredients that we would probably pull together to make fried gator bites. So I was impressed by that personally. I didn't expect the computer to be able to get the recipe that close to what I would probably have come up with on my own. And what's interesting to me there in particular is that means that we have a way to generate recipe ideas. And potentially even we can generate multiple recipes for the same item, play with them a little bit, tweak it, practice it, test it, and come out with what can be a great recipe for our establishment. Now, when it came to the instructions, it said, in a bowl, mix together all those spices and the flour. In another bowl, beat together the eggs and the milk. Put the pieces in the egg mixture, coat them in the flour mixture, go back and forth, throw them in a fryer at 375, cook them about 2-3 minutes. Transfer them to a plate lined with a paper towel to drain off excess oil, and then serve hot with either Cajun mayo or sweet chili sauce. So really, it's a solid recipe. You can work with that. So then I wanted to play with cocktails a little bit. And I know I'm just kind of reading you guys results right here, but I'm trying to show examples of how this can work, where it does work and where it doesn't work. So for food, obviously it works pretty well. For concepts, not so great. Cocktails, we got a little shakier at first and then got some good results out of it once I figured out how to make it work. And again, the reason why I'm going through all this in this detail is to show you guys there are ways to generate these things that take no time, that take no person, that take no labor. And when you really think about the savings you can get by not hiring someone to write recipes, by not hiring someone to write ad copy, by being able to come up with 10, 15, 20 restaurant bar concepts in minutes, it is amazing. And I really think to some extent you have to play with it to see how cool this is, but it is definitely worth looking into. So after food, again, I wanted to look at cocktails. And the first thing I said, okay, can this give me cocktails based upon the quality of bar I'm asking it to give me cocktails for? And the answer is really no. So I said, write a cocktail menu for a blank in New York City, where I filled in the blank with different quality types of establishments to see if the drink list would fit that. So first I asked ChatGPT for 5 drinks for a dive bar in New York City. It gave me a Manhattan, Moscow Mule, Old Fashioned Margarita, and Long Island. That does work. I mean, obviously nothing there is particularly special or different, but it definitely would fit more your dive bar, neighborhood bar type crowd. Then I asked it for a neighborhood pub. I wanted to see if ChatGPT would make a big distinction between cocktails for a neighborhood pub and cocktails for a dive bar. For the neighborhood pub, it gave me a dark and stormy, a Brooklyn, a gin and tonic, a Bloody Mary, and an Irish coffee. Not a great list. Not something I would probably run with, but again, some good ideas on there. Definitely some things you can include. Irish coffee is not something I tend to put on cocktail menus just because I don't like to have to rely on hot coffee existing at 2 a.m. all the time. Then I asked it to write me a cocktail list for gastropub. It gave me a Negroni, a spicy margarita, a New York sour, which was just a sour with the word New York in front, Aperol Spritz, and a French 75. Would those work for a gastropub type concept? Absolutely. I mean, I personally would want to be a little bit more innovative, but there is some good ideas there. There's at least a starting point where it's giving you something. So with the cocktails, I was a little bit disappointed compared to where I was on the food. I said, okay, can we refine this more? Can I give it a better prompt in order to get a better output? And so in this case, I went and I actually gave it a prompt that was far complex and wanted to see what it would spit out. So I asked ChatGPT, write a cocktail menu for a high-end bar, the 5 cocktails all using different base liquors. The menu should have alcohol forward and sweet drinks. Every drink should be a different color. The drinks should use different preparation methods. None of the drinks should be blended. Just because I don't like blenders and I didn't want to have to deal with blended drinks. So this time it actually did pretty well. It gave me 5 drinks, all with unique names, maybe. I don't know. I haven't Googled these, to be real honest. So they may exist. They might have just pulled them straight from somewhere. But I thought it was a little bit interesting. It gave me the Scarlet Temptress, which is tequila, Campari, lime, hibiscus syrup, garnished with a dehydrated lime wheel. And it mentioned, because I asked it for different colors and methods, it gave me the color and method after each drink. This one being scarlet red and shaken. Then it gave me a Blue Lagoon, which is obviously not the most unique cocktail in the world, but it is hitting a different color in ocean blue and a different preparation method in stirred. The next cocktail it gave me was what it called a Green Goddess. Interestingly, neither the vodka cocktail that is called a Green Goddess made with green tea vodka, nor the standard gin cocktail called a Green Goddess. But this is still gin base, chartreuse, lime juice, cucumber wheel garnish. It's interesting. It's different. And I'm kind of wondering where it got it because I Googled that one for quite some time and couldn't find anything similar that it pulled from. So maybe it's coming up with cocktails and naming it on its own. Not entirely certain there. Then it gave me a bourbon cocktail it called Golden Hour. Again, a name that exists already in cocktails, but it didn't give me the cocktail that you would normally call a Golden Hour. Golden Hour is generally going to be bourbon, Lillet, Aperol, grapefruit peel. In this case, they have it as bourbon, honey lemon juice, olive oil, lemon twist. Could be interesting. Sounds a little different. I'd be curious that proportions and things and how they actually, the AI expects it to work. And again, this is probably where the AI has had no experience actually making a cocktail before, no experience drinking. So it just kind of comes up with stuff. And the fact that we're getting names that exist in cocktails, but that the cocktails that it's putting out don't match the name is something to be mindful of. Because if you're using this to generate a cocktail list, one thing I generally don't like the idea of is if you have a drink called a Green Goddess and there's already a gin drink called a Green Goddess and this is that but not, or with Golden Hour, it's a bourbon drink that exists already, but this is a different thing than what people may have heard referred to as a Golden Hour before, you might want to be a little cautious there. It's probably not a good idea to give people something that's different than what they expect. Now, those are a little bit less frequently used names. It's not like a Mai Tai, where if you call something a Mai Tai and it's not a Mai Tai, you have a real problem. But this is one of the limitations of the AI that we want to be aware of. And you do want to make sure that you're Googling everything and double checking all the names in order to ensure you're not confusing your guests. And please, please, please don't just believe the AI on recipes. We'll get to a recipe on the next cocktail because you need to make the stuff and drink it. It's probably close. I asked for a couple different recipes on different drinks. I assume they are all close, but you need to actually taste it. You can't trust a computer that doesn't drink on what tastes good to drink. The final cocktail it gave me was a cocktail it called Purple Rain. Again, that name is used in multiple other cocktails. When it comes to Purple Rain, there are actually a bunch of cocktails that are all different, so you can probably stick with this one. But it gave me a cocktail based upon rum and blackberry liqueur, and I asked it for the recipe because I wanted to see how well can this make recipes, as I just mentioned. And I did this with a few others, but I kept this recipe to share with you guys. So it gave me ingredients: 1.5 ounce dark rum, 1 ounce blackberry liquor, 1 ounce freshly squeezed lemon juice, 1/2 ounce maple syrup, fresh blackberry for garnish. Pretty solid. It's 2.5 ounces, which could be a little on the high end depending upon how this is being served. It actually does not give you what type of glass it wants. So again, there's a limitation of the AI. For the instructions, fill a cocktail shaker with ice, add the dark rum, blueberry liqueur, or blackberry liqueur, lemon juice, maple syrup, shake vigorously until the outside of the shaker is frosty. Strain the cocktail into a chilled glass filled with ice. Garnish with a fresh blackberry. I'm assuming this would go in something like a Collins. I would put it in a Collins because I like the height combined with the color. You could also do this up. There's a lot of different ways you could do it. I think maybe in a Collins, it's a little heavy. I would probably do something like cut down the booze to 2 ounces total, maybe even a little less, probably 2 ounces total, and then top it with soda. I think some effervescence here could help cut through some of that sweetness. Obviously, though, I haven't made this. I just know that the AI probably isn't giving the best outcome and that there are a few tweaks I would make to go into a bar that would give us a better outcome. And that's the whole thing here, right? We've seen on the cocktails and on the food, if you give the AI the right prompt, it will give you some wonderful ideas. It will actually help you brainstorm ideas both for the items on your menu and the recipes to use to make them. So it really is a great tool in that way. And I really hope that having had 3 weeks now of conversation on menus, you see how darn useful this can be and how much it can actually help you. Because, damn, it's just amazing. When I was writing the first episode of the Menus That Sell series, one thing that struck me is I talked a lot about brainstorming and about getting people together and generating ideas. And that is hugely important. But I'll tell you this much, the AI got me more ideas in 15 minutes than 20 well-trained bartenders could get me in a couple hours. And that's true. It really will help you brainstorm. It will help you come up with concepts, ideas, names for things. If you give it a very specific location, it will name drinks on that location even. So I live in a place called Brown County, Indiana, which is a southern Indiana. It's out in the woods, but known for tourism. So I asked it to make a cocktail list for me, and it started naming the drinks rather, after places around me and geographical things after the park. It was really interesting to watch the AI generate ideas that, frankly, I could have thrown on a menu as is. Obviously, like we saw with Purple Rain, there's some tweaking there. There's definitely some recipe issues that exist, and there's definitely some name and just kind of concept issues that exist, but you have a very solid starting point. And most of these, frankly, you could roll out as is, no problem, without changing a thing, but you probably want to, right? You don't want to just let an AI run your bar. A, that would take all the fun out of it. And B, not everything that comes out of the AI is correct. So after I realized I could do menus with this, I said, okay, what else can we do? What else do we do on a regular basis in the bar business that this can be helpful with? And I don't know about you guys, but one of the things that annoyed me the most owning a bar, running a bar, marketing a bar was writing Facebook posts, writing LinkedIn posts to hire people. And the thing is that it takes an exorbitant amount of time to do, as you all know. You have to be creative, you have to be funny, you have to think. And if the computer can do that for us, and again, just like the cocktails, if it can spit me out an idea that I can just modify and play with a little bit, great, I can work with that. So I gave the ChatGPT system this prompt. Write a series of 5 Facebook posts for a new neighborhood bar that just opened in Omaha, Nebraska, that focus on building a good customer base and want to attract a varied but young crowd. So I told it where I am, what kind of bar I have, how long the bar has been open, and who I'm looking for a customer base. It's actually a poorly written prompt. That was kind of intentional. But you can play with it. You can always type in different things, see what comes out, change what you ask, and you'll get different results. But here's what it gave me. First post. Cheers to the weekend. Come celebrate the grand opening of our neighborhood bar with us. We've got cold beer, delicious cocktails, and great vibes. See you soon. Hashtag Omaha Bar. Hashtag neighborhood vibes. Hashtag grand opening. Not great, but a definite starting point. Already gave us some hashtags. I did not search those hashtags, but if you're going to use AI to do Facebook posts, LinkedIn posts, Twitter posts, and it's giving you hashtags, you need to search those and make sure, A, it's something you actually want to hashtag, because we all know some hashtags are not what they seem on the surface. And B, make sure that it's hitting the right hashtags. But not a terrible post. Second post it gave me. Attention all craft beer enthusiasts. Our bar has an awesome selection of local and regional beers on tap. Perfect for happy hour or a night out with friends. Come try them all. Hashtag craft beer lovers. Hashtag Nebraska beer. Hashtag Omaha nightlife. Again, not perfect, but great. I would, our bar has an awesome selection. I'd probably change that. I don't like the way that sounds. Whether or not you include happy hour, obviously is going to depend on if you have a happy hour program or not. If you do, you should probably say something about that there. But a great starting point and something that would work, as is even if you just wanted to publish it. Third one it gave me, we're not just a bar, we're a community. Come meet your neighbors and make some friends, or make some new friends over drinks and games like pool, darts, and shuffleboard. See you at the bar. Hashtag community bar. Hashtag friendly vibes. Hashtag Omaha neighborhood. That one I really like. Now, obviously, you need pool, darts, and shuffleboard if you're going to talk about pool, darts, and shuffleboard. But it really is a good post. It's a post that I think a lot of bars could do well with, something along those lines, because we're inviting people in. We're talking about friends. We're talking about building a community, which in my experience in the neighborhood bar business, not so much true if you go real high end with gastropubs and more destination places that are focused on food and high end cocktails. But if we're talking about the normal bars, the neighborhood bars that are all over this country and all over the world for that matter, that would work. The next post it gave me, need a midweek pick me up? Our bar serves some of the best cocktails in town made with fresh ingredients and top shelf liquor. Come unwind with us after work. Hashtag cocktail lovers. Hashtag midweek treats. Hashtag Omaha nightlife. Again, that post is probably my favorite out of the bunch. It is awesome. It works. It does what you need to do. Now, obviously, if you don't serve cocktails made with top shelf liquor and you're going after a younger crowd in a more urban environment, that's probably an issue in and of itself. But if you're not using top shelf liquor, it shouldn't say top shelf liquor. But that's a great post. The last post it gave me, I thought it was interesting because it actually tied it to football season. Football season is here, and we're the place to be on game day. Catch all the action on our big screens, enjoy cold beer and snacks, and root for your favorite team with fellow fans. Go team. Hashtag game day bar. Hashtag sports fans unite. Hashtag Omaha football. Really a good post, and I was with that post the whole way until we got to go team. I hate go team. If you have a local team, support the local team. If you don't have a local team, that could have ended on root for your favorite team with fellow fans. Go team, a little bit chintzy. But overall, again, a great starting place and something that you can really build from to have a great Facebook post. So as you can see, we can use ChatGPT to generate social media posts for sure. But I wanted to try something a little bit harder for it. I asked it to write a LinkedIn post for a gastropub looking to hire a new bar manager in Boulder, Colorado. So, a little bit different in what we're asking it to put in. We want it made for LinkedIn. We want it made to hire a new bar manager. And here's the result that it came back to me. I asked it for 2, and this is what it gave me. Attention all seasoned bartenders and bar managers. Our gastropub in Boulder is seeking a talented and passionate bar manager to lead our team of mixologists and oversee our beverage program. If you have experience in craft cocktails, beer and wine, team management, and customer service, we want to hear from you. Apply now and join our award-winning team. Hashtag Boulder Jobs, hashtag Bar Manager Opening, hashtag Gastropub Careers. The last one's a little bit of a tongue twister. Again, I was impressed by this. That's really pretty good. As far as a post to just put on LinkedIn to try to get people that are interested to potentially apply, I like that. I like that as it is. I could see myself stealing that for clients and tweaking some words here and there. But overall, really liked it. The second one it gave me, are you a cocktail enthusiast with a knack for leadership? Our gastropub in Boulder is looking for a dynamic and creative bar manager who can develop and execute innovative beverage programs that reflect our culinary philosophy and showcase local ingredients. If you have a passion for mixology, an eye for detail, and excellent communication skills, we want to meet you. Apply today and take your career to the next level. Hashtag Boulder Career Opportunities, hashtag Mixology Jobs, hashtag Bar Management. Frickin' awesome. Potentially my favorite thing that I pulled out of this while I was playing with it was these posts to hire a bar manager. Being real honest with you, one of the things I hate the most, one of the things that I am not personally very good at is writing advertisements to get people to apply for jobs. Now, I do have my tips and tricks. I do have ways to do it, and I have some wonderful ways that have worked for me, but it came hard to learn that. I am not someone that is naturally good at social media. I'm just not. I'm not an ad copy guy. This can make you into an ad copy guy. This can save you tons of money and time because coming up with posts like this takes time. It's difficult, or you need to hire someone to do it, and this will do it for you. This is where I see huge potential in using ChatGPT to essentially maximize your time, maximize your output for your time, and as an owner to potentially avoid some added expense where you may have a marketing agency or a social media person. Now you can kind of do that in-house. And I have a feeling that as ChatGPT goes on, this will get better and better. So the bottom line with all this, and I know I did a lot of reading this week and not a lot of telling you guys things, but that's all to prove these final points. The tech is here. You have to embrace it. If you don't use this tech, your competitors will, and they will get the advantages that come along with it. Is it perfect? No. Will it do everything for you? No. Can it do a lot for you? Generate ideas, brainstorm, write social media posts, write job ads, do a bunch of things that you used to do that used to take time, where you would sit and think to get a base idea and then tweak it until it was perfect. Yes. Is it going to be that perfect output? No. But is it going to be your base idea and save you countless hours of time in the long run going through and figuring this stuff out? Absolutely. This really is a tool that can change the way we do things. It's not perfect. It's not going to have every answer. You have to tweak it. It needs a personal touch, especially when we start talking about cocktails and food recipes. It needs a person that knows what the hell they're talking about to get in there and modify it and make it better. But it is a damn good start. And it is a easy and quick and simple way to get ideas and to start to build concepts and menus and social media campaigns that would take a lot more time and money otherwise. So you absolutely should be embracing this. This is one way to have a multiplier effect on your time that was not in existence, 3 months ago. And you better bet a lot of people are not embracing this yet. A lot of people are not seeing this yet. And that's why I read so many of these actual results to you guys. I want you to realize what opportunity exists and how you can be on the forefront of this and how you can use this to save yourself time, money, energy, effort, and how this can help you optimize your business. If our whole goal is to spend more time on our business and less time in our business, this goes a step further. This lets you spend less time on your business and more time doing whatever the heck you want because you don't have to dream this shit up. The computer will do it for you. Final note on that. That does not mean that you don't do brainstorming sessions with your team. That does not mean that you rely on the computer all the time. You need to involve your team in everything you do because that will make for a better culture. That will motivate your employees. You still must involve them. But damn it, you can use this to come up with some great ideas and some great frameworks to start to build from. And when it comes to things like your social media posts, when it comes to things like job ads, this will produce something that works, or at least something that gives you a good starting place to modify from, and it will save you time, effort, and money in the long run. So a few side notes before I let you guys go this week. First and foremost, make sure to go over and check out the Bar Business Nation Facebook group. We're starting to get a few members there. We need more. Really trying to build a community there where we can all help each other and grow and learn as a team. Also, as I mentioned last week, if you enjoyed the Menus That Sell podcast series, I have a book I'm currently working on, Menus That Sell, that will be ready for what they call a beta read in the book business, but essentially a rough draft that you give to people to look at sometime probably mid-late May. And I will be distributing that to members of the Facebook group for free just to get some feedback and see what you all think about it before we go into production. My other book, How to Make Top Shelf Profits in the Bar Business, will be coming out sometime in May as well. So make sure to check out the Facebook group. It's a great way to stay in touch with things going on. It's also, again, we're trying to build a community of people that help each other. It's really all about bringing bar owners together to make sure that we can all learn from each other and be more successful as a whole. So head over there and check it out. There's a link in the show notes for this podcast. There's also a link on our website, barbusinesspodcast.com. And as always, hope you guys have a great week, and we will talk again later.
Thanks for listening to the Bar Business Podcast. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Check out our website at barbusinesspodcast.com and join our Bar Business Nation Facebook group for more strategies and tips.